We have some major breaking news. It has been announced that WeatherTech will sponsor Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch for a combined 36 races in Cup and Xfinity in 2025. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. As I just said, we got some pretty major breaking news as the first big sponsors for both Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch have been announced for the 2025 season. According to what's been announced, WeatherTech, a company with a long history in motorsports and familiar brand of race fans, will partner with two of the most visible drivers and teams in NASCAR for the 2025 season. Between Van Gisbergen in the Cup Series and Zilisch in the Xfinity Series, WeatherTech will be the featured sponsor in 36 NASCAR races in 2025. When I wanted to spread our WeatherTech racing wings and get involved in NASCAR racing, our research for the best team to partner with came down to Trackhouse because we share the common values of excellence and integrity, along with the ingrained mantra of working hard to succeed and win, said WeatherTech founder David McNeil. At WeatherTech, we couldn't be happier with how our first year has unfolded and are looking forward to a successful 2025 with Trackhouse Racing. Shane Van Gisbergen says WeatherTech has been in racing a long time and they understand what it takes to succeed in the marketplace as well as on the racetrack. In fact, I have raced with Cooper McNeil and IMSA. They have been a huge supporter of mine this year, and I'm looking forward to WeatherTech to the Cup Series in 2025. We both know there will be a huge learning curve, but we're ready for the challenge. This is absolutely a massive and major deal to have your first sponsor be WeatherTech. WeatherTech has been on SVG's card for a majority of the years so far in 2025, and of course they have won in the Xfinity Series earlier this year at the Chicago Street Course, and I think they won at Sonoma as well. And Shane has been close to winning a few races so far this year. I was really hoping Red Bull would be announced as a sponsor today, but I think it's really huge that they have a major sponsor that's committed to the Trackhouse Racing family. And it's also really big for Connor Zilisch as well. Now, I do think that majority of those 36 races will probably go to Shane. I don't think he'll go see 18 and 18 each. My best guess is SVG will probably have around 20 to 24 of those races, and Connor will probably have around 12 races, considering Junior Motorsports is probably going to foot the bill, and they're probably going to sponsor both drivers throughout the season. But I think this is a really, really huge deal to have a really big company like WeatherTech who's been committed to Trackhouse Racing this year. I think it's really huge that they're going to be continuing their commitment for 2025. I do think they'll likely be on the car for the Daytona 500. I'm not sure if they announced at the press conference today, but I do imagine that they'll most likely be on the car for the Daytona 500, which is really, really huge. It's the biggest race of the year on the NASCAR streets, and I think it'd be really cool to see WeatherTech get involved with that race as well. You think about the expectations of both these drivers going into 2025. Shane Van Gisbergen, of course, moving up to the Cup Series full-time in 2025 to drive the number 88 car. And he's going to have a lot of pressure. They got his charter from Stewart-Haas Racing, but we know what type of track he's going to be really strong at, and that, of course, is going to be the road courses. But I've seen so much improvement on the ovals so far for Shane throughout the 2024 season that I do think in 2025 he could have some decent runs on ovals, and he's going to be in a Trackhouse prepared car, unlike the Call car he's been in. Yes, it's been prepared by Trackhouse, but I do believe that with him being in a fully funded Trackhouse car with a team associated with that, I do think he's going to have a very solid and strong year in 2025. And going into next year as well, I do think that he is going to have a very strong year. I predict that SVG will have probably around 2-3 wins next year. I legit think he'll be a contender on road courses. Yes, he is going to have a lot of competition from guys like Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott on road courses, and Tyler Reddick, maybe even Bubba Wallace as well. But I think at the end of the day, Shane is going to do really good next year. As for Connor Zilisch, this is huge for him. He's already been announced as a Red Bull athlete in the last couple of weeks, and now he's got sponsorship, of course, from WeatherTech now. And this is going to be really huge for his career. Obviously, Trackhouse is paying for him to be over Junior Motorsports next year, and having WeatherTech come on to play is really, really huge for Connor. You look at Connor going into next year, there's a lot of high expectations for him going into the 2025 season. I expect him to be a championship threat and contender. In his first two Xfinity Series starts, of course, he won on his Xfinity debut at Watkins Glen. And then, of course, he went on to pick up the top 5 finish at Kansas, finishing in a respectful 4th place. He's been so impressive throughout his racing career. Of course, he has a 12 hours of Sebring victory. He, of course, does have a win in the 24 hours of Daytona, winning in the LMP2 class for both of those series. He had a top 3 finish and a podium finish in the LMP2 class at the Battle of the Brickyard for IMSA, and he's just been very impressive watching Connor's growth. He nearly won the ARCA East Championship this year. Obviously, unfortunately, got taken out in a wreck that really wasn't his doing, but Connor has been super impressive, and going into 2025, I expect Connor is going to be a major threat and a serious contender for the championship next year. But having both of the most respectful drivers in the racing world right now, you have the best prospect in NASCAR, in my opinion. Yes, I think he is better than Corey Heim. I think he's better than Nick Sanchez and Christian Eckes. I think he's the best prospect in NASCAR at the moment. And having a guy who's been the most improved driver this year on the ovals especially, you look at the start of the year on ovals, he wasn't that great. But on the ovals, for the most part this year, he has been extremely impressive and very, very strong. And again, I think both these guys are going to gel very well working together next year. And I do think that SVG will do great in 2025. But having WeatherTech come on and work with the team once again in 2025 is really huge and massive for this organization. I think it's pretty cool to see both Connor Zilisch and Shane Van Gisbergen are going to have this sponsorship for the 2025 season. By the way, the cars look absolutely incredible. Looks like Shane's 97 car he's had in Xfinity on the Cup side as well, and Connor's car looks absolutely phenomenal. I don't know what other sponsors Shane is going to have this year. Again, I would love to see Red Bull come into play, maybe sponsor both these drivers, considering they're both Red Bull athletes. I think that'd be cool for both of them to get that Red Bull sponsorship. I'd have to think some of the companies like Acceptance and Assurance, and maybe we'll see other companies like Wendy's come on as to work with Trackhouse. So I did see on Ross Chassain's 2025 car that Wendy's may not be part of the team anymore, so we'll have to kind of wait and see on that. But I think this is a really huge story nonetheless, and I think it's really awesome and fantastic to see that WeatherTech is coming on to work with both Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch for the 2025 season. I'm excited for both these drivers. I think both drivers are going to excel. I think they're both going to do very, very well. And I'm looking forward to see how both drivers can do with the sponsorship they have for the 2025 season. Really excited about it and looking forward to it going into the 2025 NASCAR season. So, that is going to be today's special breaking news report on sponsorship for Connor Zilisch and Shane Van Gisbergen. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your expectations about these drivers going into 2025, and how excited are you to see that WeatherTech will be working with both drivers in 2025? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Later today on the channel, of course, we'll have the NASCAR Cup Series race review from Talladega Superspeedway, and depending on how Shane Van Gisbergen does in the Cup race today, we'll discuss that here live on the channel. Tomorrow we'll have a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple of days. Trust me, we got to talk a little more about the lawsuit going on, among other things as well, between 23 and 11 once again. We also will have the entry list video most likely coming out for the Bank of America Robo 400, and we'll most likely have Xfinity race picks coming out Wednesday along with the NASCAR news video, maybe Haley Deegan video future as well. We'll have to kind of wait and see. It's going to be very intriguing to see what happens, and nonetheless, a lot of great content coming out over the course of the next couple of weeks. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.